Have you ever gotten into a taxi expecting a ride home, only to discover a life lesson that reshapes your heart? Tonight's story isn't just another kind stranger video. It's about a taxi driver taking his last shift after 42 years, who quietly reveals a truth most of us avoid. Listening to your own heart might be the hardest ride of all. What unfolds is a journey through regret, hidden dreams, and a remarkable moment of courage that changes everything, not with noise, but with stillness, reflection, and a simple click of a camera. This is the story that challenges what it means to retire, to forgive yourself, and to finally go after the life you once tucked away. Stick with us and listen closely, because this tale will stay with you long after the wheels stop turning. Hey guys, today we're driving into something a little quieter than traffic and a little louder than regret. The streets are slick with rain, that kind of slow, soaking drizzle that makes neon signs look like they're melting and umbrellas feel like wet paper. It's evening, the kind where the city exhales steam from subway grates and the air smells like leftover coffee, car exhaust, and damp newspaper. You're tired, a little worn out from everything and nothing at once, and all you want is to get home. But tonight, the story doesn't start when you get there. It starts when you get in. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And while you're at it, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is in your part of the world. I love knowing who's listening under the same rainy sky. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. The cab you flagged down is old. Not charmingly vintage, not retro cool, just old. Like it's had a long life of wrong turns, back seat gum, and forgotten umbrellas. The kind with fabric seats that smell like pine-scented air freshener and faint sadness. You slide in, mutter your address, and prepare to zone out, scroll, maybe rewatch that video of the duck trying to eat a slice of pizza for the 30th time. But the driver doesn't move. He's staring ahead, hands on the wheel, not in a creepy, this is how the horror movie starts way, but in a, give me one more second to say goodbye to something invisible kind of way. Then he nods, just once, and pulls off the curb with the slow, steady grace of someone who's done this exact thing 100,000 times before. You glance up at the rearview mirror. He's older, late 60s maybe. Deep brown eyes, weathered skin, beard just beginning to silver, wearing a plain collared shirt and a soft navy sweater with elbows that have given up pretending not to be threadbare. No music, just the soft thrum of the tires on wet asphalt and the clicking rhythm of the turn signal like a metronome for memory. A few blocks in, he speaks. "Storm's fitting," he says, voice low and rich. "Tonight's my last shift." You blink. Last shift as in no more taxi. Retiring after this ride, you're my final passenger. There's a beat where you're not sure what to say. You try to think of something appropriate. Congratulations, thank you, wow. But instead you ask, really? What are you going to do tomorrow? He chuckles. Sleep. Then maybe figure out who I am now. You smile, then catch yourself. Because that's a deeper answer than you expected from someone you met 5 minutes ago. You watch the city slide past the window, blurry lights, wet sidewalks, people with hoods up and heads down, and suddenly this cab feels like a moving confessional booth. 42 years, he says, glancing at the side mirror. Started when I was 20. My uncle got me the license. I wanted to travel the world, but life offered me a steering wheel instead. You can't tell if he's sad or just nostalgic. His tone is gentle, not bitter. Like someone flipping through old photographs without needing to explain everyone. I drove nights mostly, he adds. Quieter, fewer people, fewer problems, but also fewer dreams. Nights stretch. And now you're fully listening, the phone forgotten in your lap, because something about the way he speaks is still. Like the whole city could fall away and it wouldn't rattle him. You ask what made him finally decide to stop. He hesitates, then shrugs. Body's tired, but really, it's the heart. It keeps whispering about things I left behind, places I never saw, people I meant to become. You don't expect to feel this level of emotion in a cab, yet here you are, teetering on the edge of quiet revelation with a stranger in a bucket seat. And isn't that how all good stories begin? He tells you about a girl once, years ago, met her during a morning shift. She was reading a book about skydiving and laughing to herself. They talked the whole ride. He wanted to ask for her number. Didn't. Told myself I'd see her again, he says. Never did. That's the thing about this job. People vanish, like dreams when you wake up. There's a soft ache in the air now, like a song winding down. You glance again at the side of his face, lit by green traffic light and storefront flicker. You realize you're probably the only person who knows he's driving his last ride. No retirement party, no farewell toast, just rain, silence, and you. You pull up to a red light, and for a second, everything halts, even your breath. You say, "You could have done anything else. Ever regret it?" He doesn't answer right away. Then, with a half smile, he says, "I regret listening to everyone else more than I regret driving." That one lands, because how many times have you done that? Quieted your own instincts. Followed the map someone else drew for you. Authors still debate whether we're shaped more by the dreams we chase or the ones we surrender. But tonight, in this damp cab with a man who's been circling the city like clockwork for 4 decades, you start to think it's both. Just then, your phone buzzes. A friend sent you a viral video titled "Retirement Goals." It's a guy leaping out of a plane, skydiving into a field with a sign that says, "Free at last." You glance at the video, then back at the driver, who's never jumped out of a plane, but somehow feels like he's finally flying. You're only halfway home, and somehow, you don't want the ride to end. The rain intensifies as the cab glides through the city, wipers carving arcs of clarity through the windshield, though nothing about this ride feels particularly clear anymore. You find yourself leaning forward slightly, not to hear him better, but because this story, his story, feels like it's unfolding in real time, and you're sitting in the front row, no intermission, no rewinds. You ask quietly, if you had a do-over, what would you have done instead? He laughs, not bitterly, just the way someone laughs when they've spent enough time carrying a question they can never quite answer. "I wanted to be a photographer," he says. "Travel, catch light with a lens, capture stories without words." He taps the steering wheel twice, almost rhythmically, and adds, "But my father said it wasn't practical. My uncle offered the license." The choice was never really a choice. Responsibility has a way of dressing up as love. You let that one sit. It's too sharp to touch, too soft to throw away. He continues, voice like sand and honey. "But every once in a while, I'd pull over by the harbor and take a photo with this old camera. Just one shot. Sunset over the water. Always the same frame. Like I was trying to hold on to a version of myself that never got past the shoreline." You're quiet for a while. The streetlights blur into golden streaks outside. You think about all the sunset pictures on your phone. How many of them you posted just to get a reaction? How none of them feel as sacred as the ones he describes. Authors still debate whether nostalgia is a trap or a teacher. Sitting here, you start to believe it's both. Then something unexpected happens. You pass your street. You notice a second too late. About to mention it, but something in you holds back. The driver doesn't seem lost. In fact, he's taking a different route entirely, one that winds along the edge of the city, past the quieter parts where old bridges sleep and docks rest like forgotten poems. You should be annoyed. You should be worried. But instead, you're curious. He glances in the rear view and says, "I know this isn't the way, but would you mind a short detour?" You don't ask where. You just nod. A few turns later, the city falls behind like a coat you've outgrown. You're driving beside the water now, waves reflecting flickers of amber light from lamps that buzz like tired bees. The silence between you stretches, but it's not awkward. It's reverent. Then you see it, a lookout point, simple, empty, overgrown in places, like time forgot to mow the memories here. He pulls in slowly, parking facing the dark ocean that stretches endlessly into somewhere neither of you can name. He cuts the engine, and just like that, the hum disappears. No dashboard light, no GPS voice, just the rain whispering against the roof and a world that seems paused for a reason. He turns toward you, reaching into the glove compartment. You think, this is the part where I learn he's secretly a magician, or he's been carrying a goodbye gift for 40 years. Instead, he pulls out a weathered camera, real old-school stuff, leather strap, metal body, the kind of thing that clicks with purpose. He holds it like it's fragile or sacred. I've never taken a photo of a person, he says, but tonight feels like maybe I should. You're startled. Me? He shrugs. You're here. You listened. That counts for something. You sit a little straighter, awkwardly smoothing your shirt, realizing too late that you've got a coffee stain from earlier. You laugh. He lifts the camera. No poses, he says, just be. The shutter clicks. You blink. It feels like something got captured, not just your face, but the whole moment. The smell of the rain, the quiet of the waves, the steady rhythm of an old man finally doing what he loves, even if just once. He checks the photo, smiles softly. One for the wall. You ask if he has a wall for these things. He laughs again, eyes glinting. Not yet, but I think it's time to build one. You don't say anything for a while. You both just watch the sea. Somewhere nearby, a gull shrieks into the wind like it's chasing the last word in a poem. Eventually, he says, I almost didn't drive tonight. I almost ended my shift yesterday. What changed your mind? He looks at you, and this time the smile is real, full, almost boyish. Something in me said, don't end it on silence. You let that line hit, hard. Because now you're thinking of all the things you were going to say to someone, but didn't. All the apologies half-formed, the gratitude you assumed was implied, the dreams you left unread like spam emails from the soul. You turn to him. Do you think it's too late to start over? He doesn't even blink. Only if you're done breathing. Somewhere in the back of your mind, you hear the buzz of your phone, notifications, likes. That viral video from earlier about retirement goals now has millions of views. You imagine this moment, quiet, strange, unfiltered, trying to go viral. And it doesn't work, because some stories are too real for captions. This moment wouldn't trend, but it might just change you. The drive back is even slower. You both talk less now, but everything feels full. Not heavy, just full. Like a jar that finally stopped leaking. He pulls up in front of your place and leaves the meter running, even though you both know this part isn't about money anymore. You hand him the fare anyway. He says, "You sure?" You nod. You earned it. He taps the steering wheel once more, the same rhythm as before. So did you. As you reach for the door handle, you pause, and you say it, even though it feels silly. Even though it's just 2 words. Thank you. He nods again. You listened, he says. That's all the world really wants. You step into the rain, but it doesn't bother you this time. The street feels different, like the map of your night was redrawn in real time. You don't know what happens to him next, but a part of you hopes he goes back to that lookout tomorrow, and this time, maybe he brings film. Days pass, then weeks, and every time you see a yellow cab, you look twice. You know it's silly, like looking for a single paper boat in a rushing river, but part of you wonders if he's still out there. Maybe just one more ride, one more photo, one more quiet moment that feels heavier than noise. You never told anyone about the ride. Not really. You shared bits, a crazy deep cab ride in the rain, a photo taken with an old camera, but the details stayed yours. They felt too fragile to explain, like blowing on a feather and expecting it to land where you point. But then, one afternoon, you find it. You're scrolling online, wasting time between errands, when a post catches your eye. It's a low-res photo of a lookout point. The caption reads, "Saw an older man today taking photos of strangers with a vintage camera. He said he's rebuilding the dream he almost gave up on. Said, I'm finally developing my life." You don't cry, but your chest tightens. Not like it's breaking, more like something is unfolding inside it. The comments are full of heart emojis, jokes, and people trying to find out who he is. One person calls him the analog therapist. Another writes, "Where do I sign up for the quiet cab confessional?" And you smile because now the story's moving without you, like he is. You imagine him at the harbor again, lining up that same sunset shot. But this time, maybe he takes 2 photos, one for the view and one for himself. At work, someone asks what you're up to this weekend. Without thinking, you say, "I might go somewhere I haven't been." They nod politely. But you know what you mean. You've started listening, not just to people, but to that small whisper inside that used to get drowned out by practicality and noise and other people's opinions. That whisper's louder now. You're holding doors open longer. You're offering help you would have once assumed wasn't wanted. And you're taking the longer routes, not because they're faster, but because they might reveal something the straight line would miss. One evening, walking home, you pass a bookstore window. Taped to the glass is a flyer. Portraits in Stillness, a photo exhibit by Dev Mahir. Your breath catches. It's him. You go, of course. The gallery is small, tucked into a cozy second-floor space above a record shop. Jazz music hums from a dusty speaker in the corner, and the scent of old wood and citrus cleaner fills the air. There aren't many people there, just enough to create warmth without chatter. The photographs are black and white, framed with thin gold trim. They're simple, honest, not posed. A woman waiting at a bus stop, eyes closed in the wind. A teenager laughing in a rainstorm. A man tying his shoes beside a street violinist. And then you, your photo, unposed, unfiltered, coffee stain and all. It's titled Listening. You stand in front of it longer than you should. Someone nearby says softly, "That one's my favorite." You don't say it's you, you just smile. Later, before leaving, you see him. Older, maybe thinner, still in that navy sweater. He's standing near the back holding a paper cup of tea, talking to no one in particular. You don't interrupt, you don't say hi, you've had your moment already. But as you're walking down the stairs, he glances up, and he nods. Just once. That same nod from the cab, the one that said more than 1,000 thank yous or goodbyes ever could. And that's when you finally understand. The ride was never just about getting home. It was about finding your way back to yourself. Because sometimes the road you thought was taking you away was actually bringing you closer. Sometimes the last ride is the first step. And sometimes, when you stop running from silence, you finally hear your own heart speak. And now, gently, we let the story settle. The engine has stopped. The rain has faded. The memory of a cab ride on a stormy night hums soft and steady inside you, like a lullaby with no words. You sit in stillness, the quiet wrapping around your shoulders like a blanket. You breathe deeper, slower. The world outside your window might still be moving fast, but inside, you've made space for pause, for reflection, for a kind of peace that doesn't need to prove anything. Maybe tomorrow we'll be busy again, maybe not. But tonight you remember what it felt like to be seen by a stranger and what it feels like to see yourself. Let that feeling stay with you. Let it lead you gently toward rest. Sleep well and dream gently. And now that you've walked beside this humble taxi driver, shared the rain, the detour, the revelation, and a rooftop snapshot that speaks louder than words, you might feel something shift inside, a sudden urge to chase a forgotten dream, to finally say that long overdue thank you, or to stop settling for who you think you have to be. If this story moved you, whether it made you smile, tear up, or rethink your own path, let that feeling linger. Like this video if you believe it's never too late to start again. Share your feelings in the comments. Have you ever ignored your heart? Did this story change how you see the last ride? Follow for more stories that touch the soul and challenge the ordinary, because sometimes the most ordinary people teach us the most extraordinary lessons. And listening to your heart? That's the ride that never ends.